Hello and welcome. There has been an increase in the spate of attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. Pakistan has been held responsible. Pakistan always is in denial when it comes to terrorists, terror organizations that work out of Pakistan and direct their activities against India. There have been many terrorists who've been declared dead, many that Pakistan says are not in Pakistan. But the truth is that there are many that we have proof, that India has proof of being in Pakistan, living in Pakistan, flourishing in Pakistan. On Statecraft, we'll discuss one such individual. Is Masood Azhar really dead? I raise this question as multiple media houses time and again have reported this about the Jaish-e-Mohammad chief. But in our exclusive report, the man behind the 2001 Indian Parliament attack, who is also believed to be behind the revived terror activities in Jammu, Masood Azhar is moving freely in Pakistan. I say this because he recently attended a wedding ceremony in Pakistan's Bahawalpur and delivered a speech there.
फ़लस्तीन, कश्मीर और जहाँ जहाँ पर जिहाद फ़ी सबीलिल्लाह हो रहा है, अल्लाह ताला वहाँ अपनी नुसरत और रहमत नाजिल फरमाएँ। शुहदाए कराम की कुर्बानी को अल्लाह ताला कबूल फरमा के उनको शहादत का आली मकाम नसीब फरमाएँ। अब निकाह इतना आसान था कि निकाह करने की वजह से ना तो नाराज़गियाँ होती थी ख़ानदानों के अंदर, ना लड़ाइयाँ होती थी, ना किसी के पाँव में जंजीर पड़ती थी। उधर जंग का ऐलान हो रहा है, इधर निकाह हो रहा है, उधर लड़ाई शुरू हुई, इधर ये गुस्ल के दरमियान थे और गुस्ल से उठ के गए और जाके शहीद हो गए। आज साथी लिखते हैं कि हमने फिदाई की नियत की हुई है, घर वाले शादी के लिए कह रहे हैं, तो अब क्या करें? अगर वही ज़माना होता, इस्लाम का ज़माना, कुरान का ज़माना, तो हम कहते शादी करो, फिर एक दो दिन गुजार के चले जाओ, जाके फिदाई कर लो, जिंदा रहे, वापस आ गए, औलाद हो गई तो तुम्हारे लिए मुस्तकिल सदका जारी है, ना हुआ तो बच्चे की इद्दत के बाद कहीं और शादी हो जाएगी। लेकिन अब नहीं हो सकता। अब उसे इन दो चीज़ों में से एक ही इख्तियार करनी पड़ती है कि या फिदाई पड़ जाएगा या शादी करेगा, दोनों इकट्ठा नहीं कर सकता वो। आज कैसी कैसी नेमतों से हम महरूम हो गए कुरान को छोड़ के। बच्चियां घरों में बैठी बैठी बूढ़ी हो गई, बच्चे बेचारे बूढ़े हो गए जी, पाँव पे खड़े होंगे तो पाँव पे खड़े होंगे तो पाँव पे खड़े होंगे, पाँव पे तो खड़े हुए हैं। वादे कर दिए रसूल पाक सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम ने कि निकाह करोगे तो अल्लाह ताला तुम्हारे रिज्क के दरवाजे खोल देंगे, वो अपना रिज्क खुद अपने साथ लाएगी, कुछ तुम्हारे लिए भी लाएगी मजीद। हमें यकीन नहीं है।
The speech which Azhar gave at the wedding has been analyzed by our open source intelligence team, and in their forensic analysis of that clip, they found that the speech which Azhar gave at the wedding is actually his own voice. And in their forensic analysis of that clip, they found that the speech which Azhar gave at the wedding is indeed his own voice. Before I go into the details, let me tell you, India had indeed captured the Islamist radical before. Back in 1994, Indian forces apprehended him from southern Kashmir. Azhar was using a Portuguese passport and had entered India through Bangladesh. However, he had to be released in exchange of passengers who were part of that entire IC-814 hijack case of the Indian Airlines. After his release, the last time the Jaish-e-Mohammad chief was seen in public gathering was 5 years ago. He was seen at a public gathering back in April 2019 when he escaped an explosion at his Peshawar safe house. Azhar's appearance comes at a time when Jammu and Kashmir is witnessing a surge in terror attacks. These attacks highlight the involvement of Jaish-e-Mohammad linked terror operatives who are acting under the guise of local militant outfits. Since the 1st of January, 12 Indian security personnel, including an army major, and 10 civilians have lost their lives, and at least 55 people have been injured in a revived series of terror incidents. Intelligence sources have told us that Azhar's terror operatives who have trained in Pakistan have assumed the superficial identity of the newly floated Kashmiri militant outfit, Kashmir Tigers. This is their attempt to provide an indigenous color to the recent attacks and to save Pakistan from further global sanctions. Why do I say that? It's because 2 years ago in October, Pakistan was removed from the Financial Action Task Force, that is the FATF's grey list, due to significant improvements to its framework to combat money laundering and counter terrorist financing. Earlier this week, Pakistan and the International Monetary Fund, that is the IMF, reached an agreement for about $7 billion, a 37-month loan program to rescue Pakistan from its prolonged economic crisis. While Pakistan continues to tell the world that they are on the right path, the big question is, will the international community really act on Pak-based terrorism and terrorism emanating from Pakistan? Well, Masood Azhar's reappearance has raised a lot of questions, and to answer that, my colleague Ankit Kumar, who is the Associate Editor at the Open Source Intelligence team of India Today, joins me. Ankit, thank you so much for joining us here. Now, there are several media reports that have said that India's most wanted terrorist, Masood Azhar, is dead. Can you now elaborate how your forensic team has analyzed this one audio clip, and why are you so sure that it is his voice?
That's a great question, Geeta. To understand the process, we need to go back to April 2019. 2 months after the Balakot airstrike, Masood Azhar had taken refuge at a safe house in Peshawar. We have reported about this in our earlier story on India Today. We know that after that incident, after April 2019, Masood Azhar, the head of Jaish-e-Mohammad, did not make any public appearance. He was not seen, he was not heard. That led to speculations in Indian media, supported by many in Pakistani establishment, that Masood Azhar was either dead, or he has moved to Afghanistan, or he was as good as dead, inactive really. So that narrative actually suited Pakistan and Pakistani establishment. Now, the social media of Jaish-e-Mohammad is very notorious. They don't upload any video clips, but what they do is they keep rehashing or recycling old speeches of Azhar or Rauf, and what they do is they keep giving new headlines, new context, and they keep circulating those old clips. So yes, it was very important for us to A, determine whether it was a recent clip, and B, as you rightly said, whether this clip, this voice belonged to Azhar or not. So in order to verify the recency, the timestamping of the clip, we analyze the metadata. You remember any multimedia that is circulated, especially on Telegram, it does not wipe out your metadata. If you are using a WhatsApp or a Twitter or a Facebook, the metadata gets wiped. But if you are circulating these kind of files on Telegram, the metadata is generally retained. So we utilize that loophole. Probably the people in Jaish-e-Mohammad did not realize that. So we used open source tools to analyze that metadata, and through that we know that the audio was recorded on what date, we know when it was exactly edited, what software was used, the time zones, it matches with Pakistan's GMT+5. All these things we can independently verify. Second was the authenticity of the voice. Did it belong to Azhar or somebody else? So, we used again an open source Python based this time tool that is usually used in developing NLP, natural language processing, machine learning based tools. These tools are very good in sampling audio properties. So we received again a near perfect match. We compared Azhar's voice with an earlier verified voice sample that we had, and we had a near perfect match. So we can say with a very high degree of certainty that it's a recent audio clip, and the voice belonged to Masood Azhar, who is definitely not dead, very much active, so much so that he's attending wedding ceremonies, first time since April 2019.
Well, interesting you say that, because we have seen India react to such stories in the past as well. How do you think India is going to react to this reappearance, and How will it impact Pakistan's own economic status, because they are reeling under a prolonged economic crisis, and now you're looking at terrorism again at the forefront, and Pakistan will have to answer. International community, the world is watching.
Well, to be fair, Indian government or Indian agencies never accepted that Azhar was dead. It was more of a narrative in some section of Indian media and supported by elements in Pakistani establishment and Pakistani government, because again it suited Pakistan. It suited Pakistan while saying that Azhar or people like Azhar, they are not relevant anymore. Azhar is dead, or he's as good as dead. So if we go back again to the FATF plenary, Pakistan managed to get out of FATF grey list some time back. Earlier this week, Pakistan negotiated a deal with IMF. It is set to receive a bailout package worth $7 billion. So that is considered a success because its economy is in a turmoil. India, I think, diplomatically will use this reappearance of our UN designated terrorist, designated by India, designated by US as well. The public appearance of these elements can be used by India to put additional pressure, because IMF bailouts, they don't come in one go. There are constant negotiations. Even when Pakistan will receive next tranche, there will be, and there are different stakeholders. India, Saudi Arabia is a stakeholder, UAE is a stakeholder who have already pledged money to Pakistan. So India can use these kind of channels to put additional pressure on Pakistan.
Okay, there has been a rise in the spate of attacks in Jammu and Kashmir. How much of that is Masood Azhar? How much is he really involved?
So what we have learned from our intelligence sources is that, based on the very early evidences or the early dots, if you will, that have been connected so far, or based on the recent attacks in Jammu, all the fingerprints are leading towards Jaish-e-Mohammad, the role of Jaish-e-Mohammad. So what is happening is, young unemployed youths are getting recruited by JEM. They are being trained in Pakistan by Jaish-e-Mohammad, supported by the establishment. And when they cross the border or the LOC and participate in an act of terrorism, then all of a sudden this cosmetic cover of Kashmir Tiger is assigned to them, just to create this narrative that this is an indigenous militant movement. Pakistan does not have anything to do with this. So this narrative actually again suits Pakistan. The role of JEM leadership is very much critical. The fact that Masood Azhar is not only active, he is now making public appearances months before the expected elections in Jammu and Kashmir. It sends a very wrong message and very worrying signs for the security establishment. So I think the intelligence community in India, the security establishment, they already know that these terrorists, these elements are being supported by JEM. There's no such thing as Kashmir Tiger or TRF. These are just cosmetic covers to save Pakistan. But the presence of or public appearance of somebody like Masood Azhar, who has not been seen for 4-5 years, all of a sudden, before all this, it sends a very worrying signals.
Ankit Kumar, thank you so much for joining us. We'll come back to you for our continued coverage on Masood Azhar and the fact that he is indeed alive and healthy in Pakistan. This is the big story that we are tracking here on India Today Global. Keep watching this space for more developments on the story and the mystery of Masood Azhar. Thank you for watching.